Hi Pisces, welcome to January and Happy New Year. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. So this month, on January 6th, we have a full moon in Cancer, which is favorable to your sign. Mars moves direct on the 12th in Gemini. On January 18th, we have Mercury moving direct also in Capricorn. On the 21st of January, we have a new moon in Aquarius, and then Uranus goes direct in Taurus the next day on the 22nd. So let's see what the cards say for Pisces. What does Pisces need to know about love and relationships for January 2023? What is coming up for Pisces, January 2023? Okay, let's see what we have. The Knight of Wands. The Ten of Wands. The Two of Swords. The Knight of Pentacles. The Judgment. The Three of Wands. The High Priestess. The Death card. The Devil. The Seven of Cups, and the card at the bottom of the deck, the Tower. So you're having some major changes this month. The Knight of Wands. Sometimes when the Knight of Wands comes up, it can mean a change of job or a change of residence. So you might be thinking about moving. If it relates to a person, you could be involved with someone that is a lot of fun, but not very reliable. Someone who makes promises that they don't keep. Because the Knight of Wands energy is kind of like a player energy. In any case, I feel like you're ready for a new adventure. You're ready to shake things up a little bit. So this could be your energy, just wanting to be like, I'm looking for something new. You've got this Ten of Wands here, which is a card of carrying a heavy burden, coming to the end of a project. So you may have felt like, I've been working really hard. I'm ready to put down that burden. And I want some adventure in my life. You have the Two of Swords in the past. So you've been on the fence about a relationship, trying to make a decision. With the Tower, I think you're just ready for change. Sometimes with the Two of Swords, it's like a standoff situation where you might have separated from a partner or you're not speaking. Like each person's waiting for the other person to reach out. Maybe there have been major changes in a relationship. And now you're on the fence trying to decide what to do. I feel like you have several options open to you, but you're not sure exactly what you want to do. So you're just deciding to not decide. With the Knight of Pentacles, so you've got like earth energy, you've got fire energy. You could be dealing with a fire sign or an earth sign. The Knight of Pentacles is someone who is a hard worker, someone who's down to earth, ready to, not afraid to to work every day and get the job done. Someone who likes to take their time, is not ready to jump into anything. And with the Tower here, I feel like certain truths have come up and you're restructuring your life in some way. Like you may have ended a job or ended a relationship. Like you're breaking down what's no longer working for you. And you're like at ground zero now, having to rebuild in a better direction. So the Tower will take away whatever is no longer serving you. So to just release it. If something is falling apart at this time, I think it's better to just let it go. Because it's preparing you for a new beginning in a better direction. And sometimes you could be the agent of change in your own life with the Tower. Where you just get to a point where I just can't do this anymore, and I have to make some major changes. I just need something different. I need to change. So it's better to be the agent of change than the victim of change. So it's better to meet the tower halfway by, accepting that things are changing. You've got a lot of change cards in this reading. The death card is also about accepting that a certain cycle in your life is over. Maybe it's no longer fulfilling, and it's time to release it. Bless the past for everything it taught you, all your experiences. You've lived through this cycle, and you've had life lessons, the good things, the bad things, whatever it is. It's been an experience, a learning experience, and it has brought you gifts, and it has brought you memories, and it's time to let go. It's time for a new adventure, I feel. The Judgment card. You may have released an earth sign, and now you're dealing with a fire sign. Just something that came to me. Now, the Judgment and the Three of Wands is coming up in the future, and that's good. The Judgment is about I think you're changing in deep levels. The Judgment is about having a spiritual awakening. It's kind of like waking up and realizing, if I want my life to change, I have to make the changes. I can't wait for someone else to change, or I can't wait for all these external things to fall into place. I have to change from within. And then when you change on the inside, that brings change all around you, because now so I think you're going to be working on yourself and working on what you know within that you need to fix or change within yourself. So you may you might start exercising, or you may pick up some new skills, or you may work on yourself, your fears, your psychological, whatever. Any kind of issue that you feel like you need to work on to become stronger. I feel like you're going to be doing that. And the Judgment sometimes comes up when you change jobs, or you leave a relationship. It's like you're ready for something new. You're tired of the old. The old has to go. It's like you're right. And I feel like you're making this change happen. It's not like you're not a victim of change. When the Judgment comes up, you are the agent of change. You are making changes happen because you realize that that's the only way that your life is going to improve. Now, the good thing is you have this Three of Wands energy. So with all the work that you've been putting in, and all the work that you've been doing on yourself and in your life and in your relationships, it's going to start to pay off, because the Three of Wands represents the results of our efforts. So it's like the merchant, sends his ships out to sea, and now they're coming back with the goods. So you're going to get rewarded for all the work you've done, all your hard work. You might even start connecting with people. Sometimes the Three of Wands, you're like part of a team or part of a group. So I feel like there could be changes in your career too. Not only just relationships, but also in your life direction, your job. And you might be working on some new projects. Because when the Judgment, as you make these changes and as you work on yourself and start the rebuilding process, your needs are changing on a deep level. And you may have come through a time of traumatic change or major revision in your life goals, in your life, like relationships. There could have been one relationship that just ended, and you're like you were on a new path, or a job ended and now you're on a new trajectory in your career. But because you're changing on deep levels, you no longer want the same things from life. You don't want the same type of relationship. Your needs are changing, and so your desires are changing. You are changing. And you can't put up with the old anymore. It's like, I can't do this anymore, So the Three of Wands, you might be connecting with some new people. But you need to take time out, because I feel like the dust is starting to settle this month. You're about to put down some burdens that are freeing you up, and you have some decisions to make. Okay, I'm free of all this heaviness. I've restructured my life. What do I want to do now? Who do I want to be with? If a relationship has ended, you're thinking, okay, what's next? What type of person do I want to connect with? If it's a job that's ended, what type of work do I want to do? And you have the High Priestess here. So the High Priestess is about taking time out to listen to your inner voice, listening to your intuition. Where is your divine guidance? And you have to. So it's a good time to quiet your mind and not take action just yet, but just think and feel your way. What do I really want? What do I really want to do? What would bring me joy? Whether that's in a relationship or a career situation, the High Priestess is about listening to that inner voice, that divine guidance that we all have. Like I always say, prayer is talking to God, but meditation is listening for the answer. And if you quiet your mind, you can hear that answer. You can hear those thoughts in your head, like that say, okay, maybe I want to do this, or maybe you should go that way. We all have that voice. I'm not saying it's an actual voice, like, schizophrenia. I'm saying it's that little voice in your head that tells you what you feel, that's saying, you should try this, or why don't you try that, or maybe call this person, or go out with that person. So follow that inner voice. It's guiding you to the next step. In your environment, you have this Death card. So it's possible that you might have ended a relationship or a situation that's just wasn't, like it was just a natural ending. Like it's time to end this cycle. So you're clearing things out from the past. And by doing that, the death doesn't necessarily mean an actual death, a physical death. What it means is the death of a way of life, or the death of a situation that no longer serves you. So it could be the ending of a relationship or the ending of a lifestyle where you're now clearing that out. So like if you leave a job, let's say, and you decide to take off on a new direction, you're clearing out the past, you're releasing the past, and you're making room for the new. And the death is about transformation, transforming from one state of being, from one cycle to the next cycle. So I don't think you're in the new cycle yet this month. I think right now, this month is going to be a time of clearing, of endings, where you're clearing out the past, you're preparing for spring. So you're clearing out the old, releasing the past, and then thinking about, okay, where do I want to go from here? Because I've finished that cycle, I've ended that relationship, or I've ended that job. Bless it, release it, and start planning. Take some time out to think about where you want to go next. You have the Devil card here, so you could have been involved in a relationship. Sometimes with the Devil, that can bring a relationship that's a little bit toxic, that has some toxic elements to it, or codependency, or you might have been attracted to someone where there was a strong physical connection, but you may not have been compatible. Like it might have been the physical connection or the pull of someone that drew you in. Like you might have been in a relationship where I feel drawn to this person and I can't let go. Like every time I try to break free, I get drawn back in. Maybe there's someone in your life that's very charismatic, that always, needs your help or needs something from you, and you just keep falling back in. Because as a Pisces are very compassionate, very giving, and you feel, sometimes you give up your own identity in a relationship. You lose yourself in a relationship. So you want to think, like, you might be thinking, like, I don't want another intense encounter. I want something where I can maintain my identity, where I don't lose myself in this relationship. So there could be some fear. So if there's a new relationship coming in, you may have, you like the intensity, but you're also afraid of losing yourself in the relationship. Because the devil can represent fear. The devil can represent addiction. So maybe you're trying to overcome some addiction problems. And that can be drugs, but it could also be addiction to a person or a lifestyle. Where, like addiction to shopping, addiction to food, it could be anything. Where you just feel like you're losing yourself. You have no control. Like especially if it's a relationship, it could be this person calls you and you just fall right in because you have such a strong attraction. Or especially if it's any kind of drug or alcohol addiction, you may need to work on that. That might be one of the things you're working on. Or you can be working on learning how to set boundaries so that you don't fall into that type of relationship where you're always giving and the other person's always taking. And then you wind up carrying the burden for both of you instead of it being a partnership where you're both contributing, you're both doing the work, or it's like a shared thing. You have the Seven of Cups here. So I feel like there's going to be multiple options for you. You may have more than one choice in relationship and in what you want to do after this cycle has ended. So after you free yourself from this one cycle, now you're like kind of dreaming about the future. The Seven of Cups is not about taking action. It's more about examining the choices and saying, okay, I could do this, I can do that, because you might have a lot of talents and you can use your energy in a lot of different ways. Which one speaks to your heart? That's what you're trying to figure out this month. Which one really brings me joy when I think about it? Because you can't do it all. At some point, you're going to have to make a decision. But for right now, I think you should just rest in the choices and really do a lot of thinking. I don't know if now is the time for action. I think now is more the time for healing, for getting in touch with yourself, with your inner self, and your own desires, because I feel like it's possible that you could have given up too much for someone else's desires, where you didn't even know what you want anymore. It's all about them. So now it's time to think, what about me? What do I want? What do I need in a relationship? What do I need in my life that's going to bring me joy and a sense of fulfillment? And I feel like this is a time of healing and getting stronger so that you know exactly what you want. And then you can just go for it. But before you get you have to know what you want before you can get it. So take your time out and don't rush into anything. Process everything that's going on. Process this newfound freedom. Process, now you have time to work on healing and getting stronger, so that the next project that you get into or the next relationship is going to be, the right one. Whether it's a work situation or a relationship situation, you have to know yourself first and heal yourself first. And then you'll be ready to make that choice and make that decision. So let's see what so you're in transition this month. You're in transition between the old and the new. The new hasn't been born yet, and you're clearing out the old and finding out what you really want to do next. So let's see what the angels have to say for Pisces. What does Pisces need to know from the angels? Positive change. Okay. Dare to be different. When you are criticized, remember that you will never please everyone. Many brilliant, gifted individuals were not fully appreciated or understood in their own lifetime. Yet it is often they who have sown the seeds of change. So I feel like you are going to be experiencing changes, major changes this month. But like I said, I think the changes are going to be internal first before you see them in the external world. So take time out and process, just don't rush through the changes. Just release what you need to release and clear the space for the new to be born, for the new to come in. So let's see what the astrology has to say. So you have a full moon in your 5th house, and it's opposing the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in the 11th. So something is coming to completion around children, a creative project, even a romance, friendship. You're open, like the full moon, it can be an emotional time. I feel like full moons can sometimes mean endings, but they could also mean revelations, like you're realizing certain things. You might get, so relationships might be changing. Maybe you're deciding to to pull back from socializing with friends and, you know, your goals and your dreams, and focusing more on family matters, because the fifth house has to do with children, creative projects. Like, it's time for you to have some fun. It's time for you to, like, you know, all work and no play. I feel like you need to put down, leave more time for fun and romance. You have Uranus is in the third house, and it's connected, it's aspecting the moon and the sun in a positive way. So the third house has to do with communication, your thoughts. It also has to do with your siblings, your immediate family, like aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. So I feel like things are changing in that area too. You might be communicating with them. You might be having sudden dealings with them. You might be even traveling, short distance travel. You might be communicating. I feel like third house, if you have something to say to relatives or to clear the air with a relative, now's a good time to do that. To have some type of closure. You might even want to travel to see them. Or at least if you can't travel to see them, you might be dealing with, I feel like you're dealing with family and immediate relatives this month. And also deciding on friendships too. Like you're seeing the truth about the groups you belong to. So one thing might be ending, another thing might be beginning. But you are, you're just seeing what needs to change. And you might be getting messages. Mercury in the conjunct the sun. You might get an unexpected message to join a group activity. So you might be partnering with a new group of people, a new group of friends that are trying to help the world or make movers and shakers in the world. They're wanting to change or help. So you might be part of a project that's helping society in some way. Maybe some type of social work project. Venus is in the 12th, and Saturn is also there. So I feel like when planets are in the 12th, it's a time of clearing out. And Saturn is like, you're finishing up a karmic cycle. It's time to release. Venus is trining Mars in the 4th house. So I feel like you have some family matters to deal with. You might have to communicate to family members or deal with some kind of childhood programming or deal with matters around home and family. You may have to revisit that because Mars has been retrograde. You might have been revisiting those kind of issues. Mars is now going to go direct. So if you wanted to take action and do things around the house, like either fix relationships with family members or move to a new home, you can do that now. Jupiter's in the 2nd house, and you also have Chiron there. When Jupiter moves into Aries, and Jupiter just recently moved into Aries, it's bringing opportunity with it. Opportunity for money, for greater abundance, to take on projects that you really believe in. You have to be careful. So when Jupiter and Venus are the money planets and the abundance planets, you could have an opportunity to make more money through some kind of project that you're working on. There's also, Chiron's also there, so you may have to have some healing around self-worth issues, money issues. But Jupiter brings luck and opportunity. So your financial situation should be pretty good during this time. Then we have the new moon in Aquarius, and that's in your 12th house. So again, in the 12th house, Pluto is in your 11th house. So your relationships with friends, your goals, your dreams, you've been connecting with powerful people, with these movers and shakers. Now you have this new moon in the 12th. You might be more involved with hospitals or prisons, or maybe there's a project that you have a chance to have a new beginning where you're working with people like that you're trying to help people that have been hospitalized or in prison, trying to make their lives better. The 12th house is also a spiritual house. It's the house of psychological issues. So you have a new beginning, a new way of, you might be connecting with a new type of spirituality. I feel like it's a new, kind of like a spiritual awakening, where you're realizing what you need to release and how you need to change and what you need to let go of, like maybe habits that have been sabotaging your success. Because the 12th house is also psychological blocks that we're not aware of, or blind spots. You may have feelings that you're not, you've been afraid to express your feelings towards someone because you have Venus in the 12th house. That's like hidden love or hidden feelings, things that you have to keep secret. So you're either working on a secret project, or there could be a relationship that you're not ready to go public with yet. I feel like but this is a good time to, though, get in touch with your psychological self. To take time out and meditate. The 12th house is also a house of meditation, spiritual journeys. I think you need that. I think you need healing right now, where you just don't have a heavy agenda, where you take time out to heal and recharge and release what's no longer serving you. I feel like this is like a cycle. There's a cycle ending that's going to also bring healing, and it's going to bring a spiritual awareness, where some things from the unconscious are going to come up and be revealed. And once you see them and heal them, then you can have a new start. You could have a new beginning where you're not burdened by all this baggage from the past. And your friendships are changing. The people that you associate with are changing, because you are changing at deep levels. You may not want to connect with the same people or the same friends. You might want new friends that are more aligned with who you are now. Once you go through this awakening period, I feel like your consciousness is raising in some way, and it's going to be a positive new beginning. Mercury is in your 11th house. It's trining Uranus, so I feel like you may hear from people that you haven't talked to in a while, and they may have some exciting project or some unexpected developments that get you more social. They may invite you to participate in something, and now that you're not burdened by the past and all the work that you've been doing, you've lightened your load, you'll be able to get involved in that. I think if you're connecting with people and projects, they're going to be very creative. They might even involve technology. Third house can be like marketing or communication or website, something where you're communicating using technology or new techniques to reach out to people, to reach out to the masses. So you could be involved more in a technology project that might be coming up. Again, Mars is still in your 4th house. It will be in Gemini until March. So you are working around the home. The best way to do, like when Mars is in the 4th house, if you're not doing something physical, like physically cleaning a house or doing some reconstruction, then you might be fighting with the people you're living with. So you have to get the energy out somewhere, somehow. So do something physical during this time. Either, you're working from home or do some exercise from home. Just get that energy out, and then it won't be trouble. But you are very ambitious with Mars because it's sextile Jupiter in your 2nd. So you might be working on a project that really inspires you. It might be more than one, too, because Mars is in Gemini. So there might be 2 projects that you're working on that you're going to be very optimistic about. It's going to bring you in contact with different people, different types of people. You may feel that it's also going to bring in financial abundance, but it's going to give you a sense of confidence too. So I think it's going to be positive all around. I think your life is changing on deep levels, and you are going through some kind of psychological transformation. And this new moon can help with that. And it's going to help you, especially like next month when we have the new moon in Pisces. It's like this month is the time to release the baggage and clear up, old projects, tie up loose ends, release what's no longer serving you, and do some of that soul-searching work so that when you get the new moon in Pisces, you can hit the ground running and be like reborn. And that will happen in February. But for now, I think take your time out to heal, release, hold, where you can think about, what do I need to release? What do I need to hold on to? How do I need to change or transform? What psychological insights can help me release anything that's holding me back from success? What do I need to talk about or communicate to the people close to me? So that's my forecast, Pisces, for this month. If you enjoyed this reading, click on the like button. Click on the subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on in your life. If you'd like a private reading, click on the link in the description box. It will take you to my website. We can get you on the schedule. In the meantime, have a wonderful new year filled with prosperity, abundance, and love, and success. And I will talk to you again next month. Okay, bye now.